All right, great. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Marie Presti, and I am your president for the Residential Real Estate Council for the New England region for 2024, and it is November 4th. And I'm excited to present to you this month's Meet the Masters. So we have a great lineup for you. I am going to share my screen just to go over some housekeeping things first. So here, let's see, how am I going to do that? I guess I haven't done that yet. Okay, so I'm going to share, and can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Actually, what I'm going to do, can you see that now? It's the full screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you can.
No,
Yep.
yes.
No?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm doing the full screen. There we go. So first, I want to introduce our leadership team, which probably most of you know, but I will go around the room, and if you could introduce yourself. If you're here today, the first person is Christine McClellan.
Hi, I'm Christine McClellan. I am the finance chair for this year for New England Region RRC.
Great. And she's our jack of many trades, including our Zoom guru here today. So thank you for recording and doing everything. Greg.
Yeah, good afternoon. Greg Hanner, Garden Realty down in Waterford, Connecticut. I am membership chair. See you in Boston too.
Yeah. Caitlin.
Caitlin Costello. I work with the events in the Massachusetts area with Christina.
And Christina.
Good morning, Christina Silva here, Mass and New Hampshire Network Director.
Great. So thank you all for joining. I know many of you are going to watch this after the fact because we do record this, and it will be on Facebook and on YouTube afterwards. So if you're watching this after the fact, hopefully you're getting something out of it, and we'd love to hear afterwards if you learn something and it's a good program to continue for next year. Oops, my mouse is very sensitive. Okay, I do want to give a shout out to all of our strategic partners. I've done this every Meet the Masters. We have our platinum members of Cutco and Cross Country Mortgage. We're going to hear from one of them in just a minute. Our gold is Bay Equity Mortgage, G-Bar, and Leader Bank, Statera Law, MLS PIN, and Coast to Coast Closings, Skyburst, Wealth Management, Puro Clean, and Endless Energy. And you'll be hearing from Endless Energy in a little bit. And our silver sponsors are Best Chimney and Gaffney Law. So thank you all for being a strategic partner this year. We appreciate you, and we're excited to work with you. In particular, today we're going to do a spotlight on one of our platinum strategic partners from Cross Country Mortgage, and Donna Brady Connor. Donna, do you want to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you very much, Marie. I appreciate this opportunity. So I have been in the business for 40 years, and all of my pre-approvals have closed on time for 40 years. My background in financial planning has helped me not only to help my clients find the best financing program for them, but it also enables me to help them to put all of the pieces of the financial puzzle together, such as budgeting, mortgages, and even saving for college and retirement. And that usually translates into more referrals. I deliver a distinct experience from other lenders because I listen to what my clients want, and I translate those desires into a working plan so that I can find them the best program. I meet with each and every client to go over their payments, their closing costs, their cash to close, the process, the do's and don'ts of the process, and the future value of their home. I advocate for my clients by advising the listing agent about why my borrower is such a solid borrower. And this gives them the competitive advantage. And so far, I have only received 5-star reviews. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. And you've come to a few of our meetings, and I think we're going to see you this week as well, right? You'll be there
Yes.
on Wednesday night, so hopefully you'll be able to come.
Yes, at the
And
flight club. Yes.
Flight
looking
Club,
forward
yeah.
to it.
So look forward to seeing her, and you'll see all of us there too. Which, speaking of, what I'd like to do is just recap the last 3 events we have coming up for the year. So as I mentioned, November 6th, we have our night out, which we're hosting for all of RRC. And we'll talk about that in a second. On November 10th, we have our Sunday morning road race, which is a fundraiser for the Realtor Relief Fund, and that's through the National Association of Realtors, but RRC has a team. And December 9th, we have our holiday luncheon and installation. So why don't we have here, I have a little thing there. Caitlin, do you want to just kind of give any last minute pitch for people who may not be registered? Do we still have room, by the way?
We
I
do
guess, the
have
first
just a
question.
little bit of room left. Yes, absolutely. We're having a wonderful time over at the Flight Club in the Seaport area. It's $50 for members, $75 for non-members, usually a much higher price point on these events. So really happy to have this a bit lower. Feel free to invite friends, bring along some people who may not know anything about RRC yet. Happy to give some education on that and say hello and have some fun. This will be after the RRC National Night Out as well. So make your way over and we'll have a good time.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And I know we already have lots and lots of people registered. So I already know it's going to be a great turnout, but if you want to come, I think they can squeeze you in. So, all right. And this was what I had mentioned was the Realtor Relief Fund. Christina, do you want to just say a quick word about where we're going to meet and what we're going to do?
Sure. We have the race starts at 8 a.m., but the RRC team will be meeting in the Intercontinental lobby right beforehand at 7 o'clock. We're going to rally. We have some breakfast bags to give out with goodies for during the race. And then we're going to do a team photo and then go together to the race I think we're going to plan on being at the starting line at 7:45.
Okay, so even if you're not running, you still go early and get a goodie bag and take a photo, right? Even if you're volunteering?
I'm not sure. I didn't set up the photo op. I know it was trying to be the team photo, but I'm assuming everybody is welcome.
Yeah, because if they're paying to be the cheerleader or the walker or the stay in bed, I'm sure they could still come and be in the picture, right? So yeah, so this is a fundraiser. So hopefully, it doesn't matter whether you're a runner or not. I know I don't run a lot anymore. I used to, but I'm going to be running it. So we'll see if I make it to the finish line. How many others of ours on the call today are going to be running? Well, Caitlin, we know you run. Yeah. Christina,
I'm walking.
maybe you're walking. Okay, Greg. No, he's not doing it. And Christine, no.
Courtney will be walking as well.
Courtney's walking. Okay, so we'll see. And Donna, I don't even know if you know about that, but you're welcome to run or walk with us if you want to. So there'll be a big group there.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to introduce Tina Shuker, and I believe Tina is on the call. Yes, I see Tina. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So Tina is our keynote speaker today. She is a expert in advising consumers and realtors on energy, how to save energy. I've been working with her for, oh my God, how long has it been, Tina? Like 4 years maybe at this point we've been working together?
Almost 5, yeah.
5 years, yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Tina's awesome. She works for Endless Energy and she's great at advising my clients. So I asked if it would be good if she would be willing to come on and talk a little bit about energy assessments, heat pump solutions, and kind of things that realtors might want to be able to educate their buyers on. So there'll be questions and answers at the end. So Tina, I guess we're gonna make you a co-host so that we can have you share your screen, right? I think that's what we're gonna do. So let me just do that. I think Christine McClellan, you have to make her a co-host, I think, because you're the main host.
Done.
Can you do it?
I might be able to request to share.
Yeah,
Can you
she
see
said
my
she did
screen?
it, so you can try that now.
Okay, perfect. Can everyone see my
hopefully-
screen?
What?
I guess I have to stop, I think, in order for you. There we go. There we go. Yes.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you for having me today. My name is Tina Shuker. I've been with Endless Energy for 7 years. I've worked with a lot of homeowners and businesses, and real estate agents and builders and people who are interested in upgrading their heating system. I personally work on the HVAC side of things, where I mostly help people with heat pump projects, but my company does a lot more. But we the majority of what we do for installations is heat pumps. So we have a lot of experience. We've been installing heat pumps for about 20 years now. So well before there's this big push from the federal and state government with incentives. So we also do the no cost Mass Save Energy assessment. We do insulation for the Mass Save program and outside of the Mass Save program. We also do work on duct work, so we can clean, do duct sealing, and then also we can add new duct work or do duct work modifications. So if someone has a home that they're purchasing that needs to be modified, we can do that as well. We also can service equipment that was not installed by us. We do work on traditional furnaces and boilers as well. So that is an option. And then we also do have our own electrical division in our company, so we can do electrical upgrades and car chargers and some other energy efficiency projects. So with the Mass Save audit, what we can do is we can go into the home, do an assessment of the insulation, the heating system, the appliances, and make recommendations to the customers as to what things they should do to improve on all of those things and what will get them the most benefit and savings in their utility bills. I'm going to talk a lot about Mass Save because we're in Massachusetts and that's where we do a majority of our work. But there are, every state in New England does have their own energy efficiency programs. They're all somewhat similar, but they all definitely have their differences, especially when it comes to incentives. So I can't go over every single one of them, but I did want to leave you guys with this link to all the different states' energy efficiency programs. And a lot of the stuff that I will talk about with Mass Save incentives and how heat pumps work, they do apply to a lot of the states, just finding out, what each individual state does offer. So this is a link to every single state. Most of the states do the energy assessments too. I will say that Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts, their energy efficiency programs no longer offer rebates for fossil fuel appliances. So that is a big change at the beginning of this year, Massachusetts, or halfway through this year, I should say, where they're taking all their funding, they're putting it to renewable stuff like heat pumps. So just keep that in mind if someone is looking to upgrade a fossil fuel system. Again, my company can do it, but if they're looking for incentives and to improve on their carbon emissions, this is, heat pumps are the best way to go. So just some, stuff that you can get from the Mass Save program. The assessment itself, as long as you're paying towards the program, is free. You can do one every 2 years. So even if you had a buyer that bought a home that the previous owner had already done a Mass Save energy assessment 6 months ago, they're actually eligible for a new one. So it is good to always just let them know once they buy the house and they have their first billing cycle with the utility company, for both gas and electric, then they can set up a Mass Save energy assessment. One of the major benefits of the Mass Save assessment and Mass Save program is the insulation upgrades. So Mass Save, if they do find that there are improvements that can be made to the insulation in the wall in the attic and in basements and stuff like that, they do pay up to 75% of the cost and sometimes 100% of the cost, depending on the variables of the site for the installation. So again, it's a lot of incentives that the homeowners or the utility bill owners are getting with the Mass Save program, so that they don't even have to pay for. So definitely worth educating your home buyers and homeowners and even landlords of buildings and homes to look into this program. There is also 0% loan through Mass Save for a lot of energy efficiency upgrades. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail what that loan covers. And then there are obviously rebates for replacing a lot of this stuff. So this is an example of an Eversource electric bill. If you look at the very bottom line of that bill, the energy efficiency charge, which I believe for this, sorry, my thing's in the way, it was $11 for this month for this particular customer. The customers, the utility bill owners are paying for the service. So that is exactly what that money goes to, the Mass Save program. So when people hear, oh, it's a free energy assessment or you get all this money towards insulation, a lot of times people are like, no, there's a catch. Well, the catch is they're paying for it. They just, whether they choose to take advantage of it or not is up to the customer. But that's, just wanted to show you exactly on your bill what's going to Mass Save. And again, it's money that you are pulling towards the program that you should take advantage of if you have the opportunity to. With the low income, so with customers that have are on fuel assistance and have reduced rates on their electric or gas bills or oil bills, they don't, because they get reduced cost of their bills, they don't pay towards Mass Save. But in the state of Massachusetts, there are local action councils that provide kind of similar program to Mass Save, where a lot of customers end up getting free either gas systems, heat pump systems, insulation, and our company does work with some of those in the Worcester area. We're working a lot more in the Boston area. So there are programs that aren't Mass Save that people can get. And why I bring this up is more for if you guys are working with someone who's wanting to buy an investment property and they're going to have low income tenants in the property. This is a really good program that landlord can take advantage of, where they're getting a lot of free stuff because their tenants are low income. So that's just something I bring up if you guys work with people who are investing in multifamilies and low income properties. So another thing too is that in order to receive rebates from the Mass Save program for specifically heat pumps, the installer has to be part of the heat pump installer network. So it is really important, if this is something your customer is interested or your home buyer is interested in taking advantage of this program, they have an old heating system and you're going to pass them along. Endless Energy is a really good company that has a lot of good standing with Mass Save, both on the auditing installation side and the heat pump installing side. So it just gives you peace of mind that if you're referring us or a company that's part of that installer network, that Mass Save is making sure that they're working with good companies. So as far as heat pumps go, there are 3 different types of heat pumps that are going to be in homes and businesses: ground source heat pumps, air to water heat pumps, and the air source heat pumps are the most common. Those are like the mini splits that most of you see in homes and businesses. This is just an example of ground source heat pump, where it's taking the heat exchange from the ground, and then air to water is where they're taking it from the air, but then connecting it to like a boiler system that's connected to radiators or radiant floor systems. And then the air source, which these are the most common that we install, are, you've seen the ductless, and there's also ducted, where they're taking outdoor air and creating, this heat exchange into the inside air. In the winter and the summer, it's taking heat from the inside and bringing it outside in the summer. So it's just a reverse air conditioning. And it is an electric source of heat, but it's much more efficient than electric baseboard heaters, space heaters, because those traditional electric sources of heat are using 100% electricity to generate heat, where heat pumps are using electricity not to generate, but to extract and move heat. So they are much more efficient. And because they don't burn fossil fuel is why Mass Save gives incentives for them, and the federal government also has incentives for heat pumps. Another big reason why heat pumps are more efficient than traditional systems, like a traditional single stage central AC, is that there is a variable speed component to the compressor, which creates this option for the compressor to ramp up and ramp down to whatever is being called for in the house, where you may be used to like a traditional central AC or furnace that's going to blast the air, bring it to temp, shut off. Well, every time it does that, it does this huge surge of electricity, whereas heat pumps are meant to be on all the time, at a slow, steady pace, providing air into the space. And because it does, that's the equivalent of like when you drive your car on the highway and you're not stopping and going, you get better fuel economy than when you're stopping and going all the time. So that's another big difference between like a traditional central AC and furnace and variable speed heat pumps. Okay, so the Mass Save program for heat pumps, and I'm going to talk about what they are now and what they're going to be. So right now, if people replace their fossil fuel system, so if they get rid of oil, gas, propane, or electric heat, and go to heat pumps, Mass Save is giving a $10,000 rebate to do the whole home covered with heat pumps. And then they do also allow a dual fuel system, meaning it's going to be, even if you do part of the home or you do the whole home and you have it work together with a fossil fuel system, it's $12.50 per ton. The Mass Save Heat Loan Program is through the end of this year. They're allowing people to borrow up to $50,000. It is going down to $25,000 next year. It is a 7-year loan term right now, and then next year it's going to 3 to 7 years, depending on the household income. So that's some of the changes that are coming. The rebate's also changing for the whole home. It's going to be a per ton rebate up to $10,000. So that's one of the big changes too. I don't know if people are working with a lot of home buyers through the end of the year, but if something like this comes up, definitely get in touch with me as soon as possible. But there are still incentives next year. And that's, part of what I do when I go into home is I'm going to explain all the options. I'm going to say, this is how you'll get the max amount of rebates, or, whatever is best for the homeowner. But there are options for rebates and incentives. The Mass Save Heat Loan, one of the really cool things about it is that, and I'm sure when you guys have home inspections done for your home buyers, that you may come across stuff like there's not been tube wiring, there's mold, or maybe even vermiculite insulation. One of the nice things about the Mass Save program is that part of that audit process, if they do identify that there's knob and tube wiring or there's vermiculite or there's mold, that you can use the 0% finance, because that can be a really expensive thing to have to go through and remediate knob and tube wiring, for example. So a nice way is to do the audit, have them identify it, they'll make recommendation for installation, and then you can use the Mass Save Heat Loan, that 0% loan, to have those remediations done. There's also, the Mass Save Heat Loan does also allow 0% borrowing for battery backups with solar systems too. So there's some stuff outside of even the audit process that you can take advantage of. There's also replacement windows. The using the loan for that and getting rebates for replacement windows is pretty strict, but there is something that you can take advantage of with that. And then you can include like duct cleaning and aero sealing on that loan as well. Aero sealing, speaking of, is this is also just a nice product for maybe even someone who's not trying to necessarily update their HVAC equipment just yet, but maybe there's someone that's been living in a home for 10 years and they never cleaned the ducts and they don't know if there's air leaking out of the ducts. The AeroSeal product, which we are licensed to perform this service, is it's basically a liquid that turns into an aerosol that turns into a glue that we will spray through the duct system that will, plug up any leaks or crevices that's happening where the air is not being distributed into the house, and that you have air loss and that you're wasting money on utility bills, because it is so efficient. And it can really help improve on utility bills. The federal government does have a tax incentive for AeroSeal, and you can use the Mass Save Heat Loan to have the service done as well. And then energy saving, it's good for the home, and you can make your home more comfortable too. So I want to kind of go through some of the stuff. I'll show you before I leave, but I put a link to the Clean Energy Center for Massachusetts, where they have a diagram with a list of all the different kind of energy efficiency programs and incentives you can do and what incentives you can get at the state and federal level. It's a really good diagram to refer to if you have a homeowner or a home buyer that's asking you, about solar, about heat pumps, about insulation, all that stuff, where you can point them to this link and they can go in and see what incentives would be available if they take advantage of any of these programs. For the federal programs, the heat pumps, there's a 30% up to 2,000 for heat pumps and heat pump hot water heaters. That's part of the Inflation Reduction Act. There's 30% off the aero-seal duct ceiling that we talked about, 30% for solar, and 30% tax credit for ground source heat pumps. So I kind of wanted to make sure I covered everything and leave a couple minutes for any questions that anyone might have.
I'll jump in here. I'll share something. You touched on the tax credits and loan programs, and I'll just drop it into chat. Chris Bird, one of the RRC instructors, just had Tax Talk on Friday, and it's part of the video bundle or available on demand, and it addresses thousands of dollars in tax credits that are available for Tina's programs, and it's great for the homeowners and investors both. My memory would be that it's probably around the 30-minute mark is when he got into the tax credits available for federal. So just wanted to share that.
I was going to ask Tina, the aerosol system,
Yep.
what's the range of cost of something like that?
So for so sometimes we go in a house and they may have like multiple ducted systems. So it is economies of scale. Like the first system, it is about 2,500, and then you're gonna get I think $750 back in the tax credit. So but then if you have another system, you don't pay a full 2,500 for us to do it. But we have to hook up that machine to two separate systems, run two separate, say there's two systems in the house, run two separate reports. But it's really cool because when it's plugged in, it actually does an air leak test before and after, so you can actually see what much air you're losing through old ductwork or ductwork that wasn't installed properly. And sometimes on average, like most of the homes we go into, it's about like a 20 to 30% increase in the efficiency of the system. So
Wow.
yeah.
And I know I've had some clients that I've given to Tina and like there was the one couple in Medford, and they did all heat pumps throughout the whole house. And what they liked about it is that every room they can control at a different temperature. They liked that.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the nice things about the heat pump solution is that it's really customizable. So, and I'm sure you guys know, like you have so many different home buyers with so many different aesthetic preferences and stuff like that. Where with the heat pumps, there are options to do like a mixture of ducted versus ductless, and there's all different types. There's we're used to seeing the traditional wall units, but there's ones that are more like radiator style that are closer to the floor. There are ones that recess into a ceiling. So there's a lot of different options, and it's at least worth exploring because everyone has different aesthetic preferences, but that's what's really, really good about the heat pumps. It's especially good for houses where someone, and I'm sure you guys, this happens all the time, where someone wants central air and the house doesn't. We have a lot of old houses in New England that never had central air designed for it. It's a really good option to retrofit a house with heat pumps for central air, and then also get the benefit of heating and all the incentives.
Great. Are there any other questions out there? No? All right. Well, so Tina, did we put your information?
Oh, sorry, my last slide had all my contact information.
Why don't you throw it in the chat,
I
your
will,
contact
yep.
information? That way people can see if they, if they end up having a client and they're not sure, they can call or text you.
Oh, definitely.
The question. I know I've texted Tina before and just said, okay, I'm here with the client and they've asked this question. I have no idea how to answer it. And then, you know, she either answers or says, have them call me or what have you. So she's a great resource to have when it comes to energy efficient in a home. So,
Yeah, and another thing too is that I actually also for 5 years sold solar as well. So I have a lot of knowledge with solar too. And one of the huge benefits with installing heat pumps and solar is that you have the homeowners can then control their costs of their utilities. So I have, I'm happy to be a consultant on that kind of stuff too. So anything like that pops up, please feel free to call or text me.
great. Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for coming. Oh, Christina's saying for those going to the RRC meetings this week, there's valet parking at the Intercontinental. And that's $65 a day, which is expensive, right?
Insane.
So, oh goodness. So she
Yeah.
said, check out Spot Hero, which is
Yeah.
a cheaper way of parking, right? Is that what you're saying nearby?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot less. It's 20 to 30 per day. And I'm actually going to take the T.
There you go. There you go. So.
I wasn't going to, but I'm like, shit, that's a lot. So.
Yes, I understand. So, all right. Well, we'll hopefully see many of you on Wednesday night. And if not on Wednesday, we'll see you early Sunday morning or maybe at some point during the week at one of the NAR events. So take care. Thank you all. Thank you, Tina, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.